Hello. There. Hello there. Yeah. Uh, Everything seems to be in order for some epic programming. So I guess let's get started. Last time I streamed on 30th, so like 2-3 days ago, and I left at the point where I'm displaying mapping here, and when I add a mapping, I can like assign a new one. But I was a bit dissatisfied with the fact that when you insert something into a hash table, the insertion order is kind of like not very consistent. So like, and also I had an issue where the uInput device would fail to get opened. Yes, so I fixed that off stream. Just as I said, you know, all I need to do is just reboot the machine and it was fine after the kernel update. Yeah, so what I figured out I want to do here, if I want to sort of preserve the insertion ordering, is to have another way of representing those bindings. So on the profile, I added a mapping array. It's just for representation. And this thing will store the bindings in the order they got assigned to. And then I guess an actual legwork would be done by a hash table. Yeah, that's the current idea. Just to have a separate representation. And array of mapping bind, and mapping bind is like a source code. Yeah. So maybe it should be like that. Yeah, because source can have a kind as well. So I guess it would be array of mappings. And when I parse the profile, this array is called mappings array. Yeah. Okay, here it is. So source like that. It's gonna be source and mapping. That's source equals to code equals bind. I think here is just a number. Yeah, so I don't. Yeah, so it's gonna be it. And then here, yeah, mapping mode. And guess I can do this. We'll kind of have it both ways for now. Oh shit. Yeah, bind will have a mode for the destination, and mapping has a mode for all of those. Like, they kind of both have a bind, so... I can make it slightly more convoluted. I can remove this and this, right? Instead, here in mapping, I can add like an index into this array. Like, would it make sense? Like, I don't really want to make myself an entity component system for keyboard mappings, but that would be funny. Yeah, I don't think I want to do that, to be honest. Oh, no, not this one. This one would have an index. Yeah. I guess. Because we have like a hash table of mapping binds, right? It's a source to a mapping bind. Like a source, so you get the source code. Like this is kind of a bad in a general sense. It will work on Linux, but in general sense, you want to key off like a source and a kind. So kind is like a keyboard or like a controller. Right, so you want to something like key of something like that, just to be safe, I guess, because like on Linux you're guaranteed to have unique code per any type of device, but I don't know if that's the case on Windows, for example. So we might figure out something else, but for now I'm working on Linux, so let's just do U32 as we used to do. And array. Yeah, array won't really have anything like this, I think. Yeah, so this index would have needed to get this mode. Hey Laurent, thanks for the good luck and Happy New Year. Today is gonna be a very slow day. I'm like recovering after New Year, so yeah, we'll just chill. So let's get this all back, and yeah, so we have a mapping bind, and a source. Mapping mode, mapping bind mode. Right, when we get the source, we set the source. We can also do like mode equals mapping, something like that. Will that make sense? We're gonna clean it all up later. This should like fail to compile, I think. Yeah. Incompatible structs wanted mapping bind, got mapping. Oh, wait, like here. Yeah. Because it is now a mapping bind. It kind of still works. Oh shit, I accidentally closed Emacs. Wait, what? Why? Like, for some reason when I close the program, it closes the Emacs. Here, I'm focusing Emacs. I focus in the program, I close it. No, I guess I just did an oopsie 2 times in a row. Okay. I'm sorry for that. Hey Bill, hello. Welcome to the stream. Oopsie, yeah, this is true. Hi, hello, welcome. Yeah, okay, so this works, but I wanted to kind of change the config for escape button. Also, I wanted to get rid of this repetition. It should be the opposite. It should be 22 to 1. Because I map U to escape and not the other way around. Here, U to escape. So A overrides D and vice versa. W overrides S. Actually, you know what? So the way I'm doing it now, I need to add a separate binding for D to A, like the way it works now. The way I restructured it, at least. So like A will override D, but the way it is now, D won't override A, and I want them to override each other. Right, so yeah, mapping, like for example, so it needs to be something like that, D to A. And this needs to get set to override. Oh. Yes, so I guess I'm gonna do that. So somewhere here, when I do the table set, like if, oh shit, I need to fix this stuff where like the case, it like insists to get indented here. I don't necessarily mind that, but I don't want to force it. It would have been a derail for now. Like if, where's the mode? Yeah, mapping that mode. Mapping that mode equals override. I want to also table set the Mapping destination code to the mapping source, like that, right? So A overrides D and D overrides A, W overrides S and S overrides W. So this is kind of an idea. And I think it should work, yeah. DA, AD, SW, WS, yeah. And then it's like this insertion order, and I don't want to display all of them. Like these duplicates, they should kind of be hidden in the background. Like this is just an implementation detail to the user. Although, no, we'll have a separate like binding mode, because some fighting games, for example, they want like, you know, up always wins. So like up would override down, but down would not override up. So it would be like a separate binding mode. Yeah. Right, and here what I do the UI. Its active profiles is gonna be mappings array, and it's gonna blow up because yeah, because it's an array of mappings, and I need to display source, mode, and source code, destination, and mode code. Yeah, so where is it? Here, mappings array, and this is just mapping. Get mapping source code. This is gonna be mapping.mode, and this is gonna be destination.code. Oh yeah, and if you remove this will be an array remove, right? And it will always do, oh, not always, it will remove from an array, and it will also remove from table, and maybe from table it will remove too. Yeah. If mapping.mode equals override, table remove mapping source code from active profile mappings. And this is like table, this is like a hash tables in Jai. Unlike Odin, Jai doesn't have a dedicated syntax for hash tables, so it's just all user label module that you can throw away if you don't like it. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, if you don't want to think about hash table implementations, you just know you have one. Having a subscript index is definitely more kind of eloquent. But then if you want a specialized hash table, you're like, oh, my hash table is a second-class citizen, now I need to like... It's definitely a trade-off. It is definitely a trade-off, like, for sure. Like 100% SOA based and cell. Oh damn. Yeah, I see. Because in Jai, like hash table is like this, very simple. It's like, okay, not counting, so it's line 100, line like what, 400, so it's like 300 lines of code, entire hash table, and a lot of that is like comments, right? A lot of those are comments. And I guess there is like an external hash also, like, yeah, I guess also this one, and I guess also like somewhat external hash function, which is by default very simple too. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that it's Knuth hash. I think you can drop and replace it with meow hash. Yeah, there's also meow hash, which is like all sorts of crazy. But by default, it's not doing that. If hey Patrick, hello. No, it's all good. It's all good. By cell-based, you mean elements that don't fill a cache line evenly will be padded for the cache line. Oh. Yeah. I see. So. Yeah, I'm just a small web monkey, so you have to, bear with me, but I think I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, happy New Year, guys. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, like, Odin and Jai are quite diverged from each other. It's like the similarity now is pretty, like, superficial. Like, it's like similar syntaxes is just like, it's just the only thing I kind of can see at this point. Right, like, okay, the directive starts with hash, and like there's the double colon syntax, right? Yeah. It's like, yeah. It's like the only real similarity I can claim in a good faith at this point, because Jai is like all about metaprogramming, at least in my opinion. I really see Jai as a like type-safe Lisp. And that's really why it's so attractive to me personally. Because I'm a little bit of a Lisp addict. But Odin is nothing like that at all. Odin is like Go supercharged and with like garbage collector removed. So for me the distinction is pretty clear. Like, Odin is like Go, but not for Google interns, It's like so we do this. They'll released no, not this. So we remove the source code, and if overwrite, we also remove the mapping destination. We do this, and I also want to remove it from the array. Similar in use cases. I mean, yeah, both are suitable for games. I guess you can say that, but I mean, it's just being the system's programming language, right? It's like, what are you gonna do? You take C, right? You can take C and you can deal with C quirks, and some people like that a lot. you know, Ryan Fleury. You know, you just like, you just know C macros by your heart, and you use it carefully. Or you like do C++ 11, so it's kind of like what Jonathan did with Witness, right? You just take C++ and you use as few modern features as you can. Or you just use barely anything at all, like you go Casey way. Yeah, Patrick, that's what I'm talking about. Like you just write the C with like heavy macro usage. Or you get one of these new systems language that fix a lot of C issues, but like their downside is that, okay, they're not as widespread, you know, like you have to work your way through, like, you know, you have to create bindings for libraries, or maybe you have to do some groundwork. And maybe, you know, like compiler support, like platform support is not as great, but it's like, these are solvable issues. They are not like fundamental, right? I mean, in Jai it's both, right? Because in Jai you have both a separate stage, like a meta program, and you have inline metaprogramming, so like macros. You can kind of combine both. So it's like both. And you use one for certain use cases, you use other for other use cases. But yeah. This should work. I think this. Oh, this where do I compile bind equals? This is not gonna be a thing anymore. Yeah, this is not gonna be a thing anymore. And I think dummy bind, we don't need this to. Mappings are okay. But yeah, there's like, if you want to make games and you don't want to deal with garbage collectors, so you know, you don't want Unity or Godot, you don't really have that much of a choice, right? You just basically have like, not counting C and C++, you have Jai, Odin, and Zig. Like, that's it. Like, pick. Like, and it's great. I mean, it's choice. Because before that, you would only have, like, C and C++. Like, help yourself. I don't really consider Rust. Yeah. I also believe that it is not a, like, single-sum game. Like, I'm a strong believer that it doesn't have to be like a single-sum game. I don't really think people want that. I mean, there's like, certainly, I mean, some people, you know, they'll just pick a camp and they are like, oh, I'm gonna like go and burn everybody else, but I think it's like a minority. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way, Patrick. Like, I started doing some Odin like 3 years back, but at the start I just wasn't ready for system. I was just like a web monkey doing web monkey stuff, and like I just wasn't ready for systems programming, like total. It doesn't matter, you know, like C, like Odin, Zig. I just didn't fucking know what a register is, you know, on the computer. It's like, what are you gonna do? I was just fumbling around. But yeah, like Jai is my choice because of metaprogramming. Like that's like a big feature for me, and I just like it. It's just like kind of the way I think about the code overall. Maybe coming from dynamic languages, right? Because in dynamic languages, this sort of like metaprogramming is very natural. So maybe that's just kind of speaks to me. I guess. I don't know. I haven't tried to overanalyze it, to be honest. Table set, it's in Linux, right? And also identifier release. Why do I set an identifier here? Oh, right, yeah, I remember now. It can be index now. It can be just it index now. And this is now not needed. If setting source. Oh, I still haven't fixed. Oh, it's delete. There's also an identifier here. And profile table remove some mappings. Another identifier. Oh. Mapping destination type 1 at U32. Oh, it's a mapping destination dot code. Yay. Okay, and now it breaks because I don't add to the mappings array. I'm gonna do it now. On PHP and Java Minecraft plugin in 2010, which I stayed in the Minecraft programming list. It was a game. Yeah, true. I'm actually like a very slow burner, you can say. I started super late. Like, no, I never, Ilionte, hello, I never figured out, and I honestly haven't tried. So Ilionte is talking about like this. If you move a window a lot, it's not doing it now, but I think after a certain amount of re-renders. Oh, here it started. You see, like the word hollow starts freaking out. You see? Like this one. And sometimes the word add as well. No, I haven't figured it out. I haven't looked into it. But yeah, I started really late. So I grew up in a like village in a like far east north of Russia. I didn't have internet at all until I was 13, and my first computer I also got at like 13 years old. And we had like informatics in high school, but it wasn't like programming. It was like how to open Paint, like how to save a document in Microsoft Word, you know. We had a little bit of basic, but it was like so bad. It's like, oh, let's learn how to solve a simple equation in BASIC. So I would never connect like video games and programming back then. And so I was never really interested in programming, even though I have like an IT degree. It's a very general degree in IT. Programming was always just like a tool, you know. And my first job was like, I was basically like IT accountant, you know. Like I did some programming just to facilitate accounting. So my real programming like career only started in 2015, and at the time I was already like 23. So yeah, I like knew some Python, you know. I knew like my way around Linux because I used it kind of like as my desktop. But yeah, you can say that I started my real programming career in my 20s. So yeah, this like I started programming like at 8. So by the time I'm 25, I have 15 years of experience. That's not about me. I'm super late to the party. I also had a lot of bad influence, right? Because I picked up clean code when I started, and I mean, you know where it leads to, right? Let's just say it took me a while to discover handmade like community. It took me a while. So this is a table set, and here we will do array add. And mapping. I guess that's it. Hey, let's go. P to L, W to S, A to W, A to D, and U to escape. And under the hood, it should be a bit more than that. And now they should have like insertion order. So 25 to 38, it's P to L, I think. W to S, yeah, S, D, they're like sequential. This is A, yes, for sure. And 22 is U, 1 is escape. Great. That's it. And now when I add the mapping, I want to display the mapping at the start here. So the view isn't scrolling like without the need, right? So when you press a button that's supposed to add a mapping here. For now, it does this kind of crazy stuff, but I'm gonna do like array insert add. This is the thing. And it's gonna be active profile mapping array. Is it mapping array? It's mappings array, yeah. And I'm gonna insert there. It's gonna be struct with like I guess source. It should be like it's a map bind, and it should be like code is like key temp, and the destination will be is also like that. And so we do source equals source and destination equal dest. I think that's what we do. And there should also be a syntax. I forgot where it goes. Syntax goes at the end, yeah, and I want to insert it at the start. Like that. PHP. I actually did PHP for the past couple of years, Patrick. Yep. I mean, but I mean, you know, 20 bucks is 20 bucks. Okay, yeah, that's what we're doing. And now it waits me to press a source and a destination. Dollar, yeah. This is a reality of Eastern Europe outsourced WebMonkey. You just gotta do what you gotta do. And you know, I escaped Russia, so I wasn't really in a position to find another job. So when my master said you're gonna write PHP, I was like, yes, boss, okay, boss. In my book, so I have way more experience with Python than with PHP, so in my book Python is better because I know how to cook it properly. So I'm biased. I consider myself pretty good at Python, you know. I did a lot of Python. But PHP is undeniably better in a way that it's way, way, way faster than Python. Like, I really learned to appreciate how fast PHP is for an interpreted language. And also, unironically, I learned to appreciate WordPress of all the things. Hey Acido, hello. This is my first YouTube chatter. Yeah, I'm trying to restream to YouTube. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm just like recovering from a New Year stuff. Hey Literatus, hello. Yeah, so I really grown to appreciate PHP's speed for interpreted language and also WordPress kind of simplicity. Like reading WordPress source code is very easy. It's way easier than, you know, like a lot of Python's web frameworks. Like WordPress source code is way easier than, simpler than, for example, Django in Python or something like that. So yeah. I mean, PHP gets much flack. Deservedly so, but it has a good sides, absolutely, for sure. Now let's switch to Linux part of things, the Linux platform layer, if you say so. And when I'm setting source, so here we have active profile, mappings array, it's a first one. Source code equals to f.code, right? And when we say person at destination, we'll do the same but with destination. And this should actually add mappings like one. Oh yeah, so it works, it totally works. Oh, deletion doesn't work because I haven't implemented it. Pfft. Some Wild Arms music is playing. Poggers. I will do table remove, and also there was array ordered remove. I think by index, right? Yeah. I don't really know index right away. So that's why I actually wanted to store the index here. Like for now, I don't want to restrict myself in how I structure my structs. I just want all data to be available right where I want it to. This is actually something I've learned from Handmade Hero, like back in the day. Like if you want something, you just like put the shit on a struct where you want it. Right? So I press delete, I get the source, right? Like I get the, actually I get everything. I'm pretty sure I get the index as well. So I actually don't need that, but if I needed it, I would just put an index here into array. I just realized that I don't need it, so scrap that. But yeah, and this is actually very unintuitive to me, you know, to just like put the field where you need it. It's very unintuitive to me because I'm gonna explain to you. In web world, you can't do that because if you want a new field somewhere, you usually want to store it, right? And if you want to store it, it means you want to add it to the database. And in order to add a field into database, you need a database migration, and your database migration needs to be zero downtime. So you need to add it in few steps usually, where you like add a nullable field, then you fill it with data, then you remove nullable, then you maybe like remove some other field that you need to. Then you have this crazy database normalizations that you need to resolve. And then on code review you will be asked like, why do you need this fucking field? And you would like, I don't know, man, I just want to experiment with shit, you know, I want to see how it's gonna go. And like, no, you can't do that, because then all your queries become unoptimized, because your SQL query does like select star by default. So you just can't do that in web. So this kind of stuff where you just put fields everywhere and then you clean up when you want is very foreign to me. I had to actively do that. That's why it's so refreshing. Anyway, where was the delete? It was here, del released. Yeah, because I just haven't put that. It's gonna be active profile dot mapping array, and index is it index. And then active profile mappings, mapping source code, and this. When you do array ordered remove, do you just like do you like, how does it go with relates to the allocations? Let me see. So array ordered remove by index. Okay. So it's actually an iteration. Okay, it doesn't free anything. So if it is like, you know, allocated, you just like deal with it. Using PDO in PHP, damn. I actually used it too. So today, I actually wanted to check out if I can stream on Twitter as well. But it turns out you can't just start streaming on Twitter. I entered the media dashboard, the one where you create streams from, and it would just crash for me immediately with some epic like JavaScript error. It was something like, let me, because of course I tweeted about it, because how could I not? Oh yeah. Can't convert undefined to an object. Like, look at that. But yeah, so no Twitter streams for now. MySQL query. I actually used PDO, and there was also another one like something like C accelerated database connector. I forgot what its name. Yeah, maybe it was MySQLi. Maybe it was that one. I forgot. No, it was cannot convert undefined to an object. So almost in the end. Array unordered remove by index. Okay. Do I care about possibly leaking a This is a good question. Wait. It is pacman-q grep OBS. It is this one, OBS multi RTMP. It's actually a plugin that is built by here it is. Flashbang incoming, so bear with me. Here. it's built by VTubers, literally. It's like in Japanese, but all you do is just install it, and then you get like a dock panel in OBS where you can set up additional sources. Hey Jankar, what's up? Hello, welcome, welcome, happy new year. Your own PHP framework, that's crazy. Yeah, I had my own web framework in Python. Me too, I actually also have like a mild headache. So we're headache buddies. Not because I drank too much. I actually had to wake up at 3 AM because I needed to send off my family to the airport. My wife and daughter, they went to Moscow to do some family stuff, and then they will go to Far East to see my mother-in-law. So I had to wake up super early today, and I'm still kind of dizzy after that. Yeah, it's like oof, few hours before. Maybe there's, you know, some kind of a magnet storm like above Europe, so all Europeans have a headache. Maybe not Ginger Bill because he left Europe. I'm sorry. Okay. So hopefully I remove the bindings. And so I do that. Then when I set the destination, I also want to do table set, so I don't actually need this waiting code. This, by the way, this routine that actually does keyboard handling, this is just some of the finest abomination code I wrote in my life, but it's like purely exploratory. It's just crazy ass platform code for Linux, and I'm proud and terrified by it at the same time. Okay, I'm out of my New York chocolate officially. Now it's only healthy food from now on. Yeah, regulations are like, after I moved to Europe, even like in Serbia you don't really feel that, but you're certainly exposed to the regulations more. I'm totally like black pilled on Europe at this point. Yeah. So imagine like the climate change finally hits, and Europe like starts freezing, and British will just like move their island, you know, somewhere into like the nicest spot of the Atlantic Ocean. So the Albion is just fine. And like okay, you would move it to the place of the Atlantic that would imitate your like existing climate then. So I was like a big fan of GDPR when it hit like a few years back. I was thinking like, holy shit, you know, Europe will protect my personal data. This is like so good. And it was so good on paper, you know, companies would need to like delete my data upon the first notice. They couldn't like store my data without consent. And it turned into such a garbage ass implementation that I wanted to, I don't know. I wanted to do something real bad, because Yeah, it's like GDPR is like a disaster. Implementation wise, like it has the right spirit, but it's not there, like, obviously. Hey, Dracontas. Table set mappings, so we do the bind this like this, and mapping destination code and table set mappings, mapping dot destination. I think that's it, right? That's pretty much it. Wait, where's the waiting source? Oh, no, I don't need that anymore. I still have it? Where? Oh, set source code. Not enough arguments. What? Oh. Yeah, like that. So we're adding mapping. We want to map left bracket to back. Oh, this doesn't work. Yeah, this doesn't work. This part doesn't work. I fucked it up somewhere. Yeah, I fucked the setting destination. So mappings array first, destination code. This should work. And it said like set destination, so it should have worked. Think source code. Oh, no, I'm fine. Oh, wait, we forced Apple to make USB-C iPhone. Yay! Hey Sebastian, Happy New Year to you as well. I mean, I don't think it's a weird opinion to hold. I also disagree with this one. Like, standardizing on USB Type-C, it's like such a weird thing. Like, kind of... I totally agree with opinions that say that like this totally cucks the advancements in the connector technology, you know what I mean? So now what they will have to do is like, you know, okay, we want to advance the technology, but we also need to ship USB Type-C, so they will like do two holes in an iPad, one hole for their new thing, and another hole for USB Type-C just for compliance sake. Like, USB Type-C is not necessarily bad, but it definitely has downsides, and Type-C connectors, they break often. I have multiple devices that I can only charge like under a certain angle after like just a couple years, you know. Actually, we'll do that in line, so I don't have to do the pointers. Mapping that destination code equals code, and then so okay, now it works. So I mapped left bracket to right bracket, right? I can also map crazy stuff like backspace to right control, you know. Yeah. And so I have a code that determines names of keys, and it's like a little bit crazy. It's all the way down here. Get key name, yeah, here it is. It's like a bit crazy, and I know there's at least one person in the chat, Ilionte, who would like look at that and like, yeah, you know, XKB state, like XKB KSIM, you know, like, yep, I know what you're talking about. This like XKB common library, and XKB common, it gets like initialized and platform init over here, where I also have to set up X11 connection and then do like extensions and then get core device ID, and after that I can finally get like a global key map and all that shit. But I mean, it works. The only, I guess, restriction for now that I implemented intentionally is that XKB common itself is not that bad, but X11 part is what makes it like hateful, because you need to do this, and I hate that. And you need like a separate connection or something like that, because like, yeah, my current window creation is a bit crazy because I use window creation from Jai and it does libx11, right? But I also need X11 for stuff like determining currently focused window. So for example, if I show to you like here, right? If I focus X11 window here, it says name hitboxer, so it knows the program that I'm focusing. And it obviously only works on X11 windows because Wayland just doesn't have this functionality at all. And for that I need an X connection, and I actually need I actually doing that in a separate thread. And libx11, it just doesn't do multi-threading, so I need to instantiate XCB separately, and I hate that. And the whole thing, yeah, the focused program, it's just a long pile of X11 garbage. Just okay, look at that. So this is a function, or like I guess procedure, to detect currently focused X11 window, right? It's like long. It's what 156.32. So it's 120 lines of code, like give or take. And now look at Windows implementation. I also have Windows working, and it's so hard to notice where it is. Mapping, destination, detect focus program. Here it is. It fits on an entire screen. It's like merely 50 lines of code, and like 10 lines of that is just like parameters that the hook accepts. Like that's literally it. Isn't it just reading property? I mean, more or less, but you have to instantiate an atom. You have to do like this cookie stuff, right? You have to intern atoms first, error handling, then active atom. So first you need name atom, you know, atom for window name. Then you need atom for like an active event. Only then you can start like connecting to the X11, set like attributes that you want to listen for a property change. Then you need to like check for to change cookie, and finally, while true, you can do this stuff. Right. I can finally do, and even then, right, I get response, which is property notify. Okay, I cast it to an event. I need to compare that it's like my atom. I mean, this is reasonably enough, right? Then there is, of course, implementation difference, right? Because on X-Wayland it works a certain way, on X-Wayland it's like a bit different. This is just like I get the input focus reply, then I use my name stuff that I initialized, later I finally get name, and then I can, you know, start getting property values, and only then I can finally, like somewhere here, I'm comparing against the focused window. Yeah, I can probably do this in a platform init. I guess you're right, but okay, it's still like 100 lines of code. Yeah. What are people talking about? BCS, Swedish handmade, Sweden handmade. Summer 2025. I don't think so. I mean, for me, visa situation is complicated. Like, it's not that they necessarily won't give me visa, but it's just such a daunting and humiliating procedure that I just don't want to bother going through it just for a conference. You know what I mean? I got my German visa for 4 days this fall. It's just like a single entry that let me stay in Germany for 4 days, and I spent 3 weeks and almost 200 euros to get it. Like, what the fuck? And it's like not counting the plane tickets and everything else, just to get like entry permit. So yeah, I don't know if I want to go through that. I mean, it's fine, you know, like, it sucks, but I don't want to complain because I'm grateful that they let me in at all. Because, you know, I mean, a lot of countries that just like straight up won't like let me in anymore. You know, like Baltic countries, also like Czech Republic, by the way, just doesn't like, just, you know, like Russians are banned from Czech Republic, like no more Russians. And I mean, I understand, you know, I'm not saying I don't understand, or like I'm complaining. I know why. I know why. It just sucks to be like living in the system right now. Yeah. All right, so I have this now. So what I want to do now is I want to port an actual machinery to that. Right, so I want this mapping to actually work, because for now I broke them a little bit. So here in my routine that actually handles the keyboard. Keyboard detector, no, it's not the one. I get loggable devices, that's not the one. Virtual keyboard path. Start, yeah, here. Start logging keys in a thread, that's the one. Yeah, so for now, what I do is IOCTL, where's the actual loop? Okay, I need to refamiliarize myself with this procedure because I haven't seen it in like 3 months. Okay. So this is a key bits. This is a part for IOCTL. I'm getting loggable devices. This is a kind of a list of keyboards that I'm trying to get. Yeah, so this procedure, get loggable device, it will give me like a keyboard, you know, like a definitive keyboard device on Linux. I get file descriptor for the device. some error handling. I put the file descriptor, so I save it for later. This is like, I think, for detecting key names, if I recall correctly. Then I do IOCTL to grab the key bits on the device. So it's like available keys, I think. I don't know, it's a current keyboard state. Wait for Alt button on the original keyboard to get unpressed before grabbing it. Oh yeah, because in order to detect the keyboard, I need to wait for a single event on that keyboard. Because on Linux you can't just say, give me the keyboard. Because there could be multiple keyboards and you don't really know which is which. You just need to poll on them and see what triggers. So I'll do that. Right, this is and press before grabbing it. The reason is something else might be listening for inputs on the original keyboard and it'll get stuck if we suddenly grab it. For example, touchpad prevents the cursor from moving when you touch it while typing. If I grab the keyboard while it thinks that some key is pressed, it goes into the infinite stuck loop until I ungrab the keyboard, hence this loop. Maybe there's a better way. Yeah, I actually know that there's a better way to do this. I can do this the same kind of way libinput does it. And libinput is just kind of passes through everything. I do it like a bit differently here, but yeah, and I am thinking that maybe I'll just ditch my code and I will just depend on libinput. I'm trying to be very, 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 very light on dependencies. In fact, the only library on Linux I depend on, not counting OpenGL and X11, is libxkbcommon. Right, and I'm thinking maybe I should depend on libinput because I feel like in modern Linux you always have libinput installed. Like, I don't know a single distribution that doesn't ship with libinput. And the same for libxkbcommon. So maybe those two are reasonable dependencies. I need to think about it. I really try to not depend on stuff that I don't absolutely need, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, while can grab read from device. These are synchronization events. I ignore these. I get the state of the keyboard, if keybit result minus the keybit num. Yeah, I can get the state. And then can grab true. And okay, I just test the key. Basically here, I'm waiting until the key gets unpressed. Can you even open a keyboard that's already in the use by XA compositor? You can. Yes, you can. Because they usually don't grab it. They, so X and the Wayland compositor, they will multiplex keyboard devices into one like meta device, right? But they will not grab it, which is very, very nice of them. Because otherwise you would be forced to go through the compositor and it would suck. Massive cock. Hey Predic, Happy New Year to you as well. Welcome, welcome, and thank you. Current Czech government is pretty anti-Russia, the evil one. But I fear in the future we end up like Slovakia. We have a lot of hidden propaganda and paid pro-Russian people. I mean, 100% you do, like 110% you do, like absolutely. Those motherfuckers work all over Europe. And if you're not careful enough, you will definitely turn into like Slovakia, Hungary, and like, I guess, Germany, low-key. Like, it will 100% happen, so be careful. Like, unironically. Does the kernel send all events on all FDs of that device? Or do all FDs compete for the events and the first one that reads an event prevents other from seeing it? So if none of those file descriptors grab the device, then it sends to all file descriptors. But if your process grabs the device, so it's IOCTL, this one, grab, if you do like grab on the file descriptor, then it kind of steals the device, and now kernel only sends events there. So as soon as I grab the keyboard, it's my responsibility to re-inject events back to the queue. Right? So this is how it works. So this is where I steal the control from anything else. And actually I have had a situation when I was like not careful enough. So here I grab the device. After this I open a virtual keyboard. Right? I open a virtual keyboard. And then I set it up, like I turn it into a keyboard. Like I turn it into a keyboard here. Yeah, set key bit. Here UIDEF setup, UIDEF create, right? So now I have virtual keyboard, and here, while I'm listening, here I start reading the keyboard events from the kernel. And here I pass those events like straight up into the virtual keyboard, and all other operating system, you know, other like device listeners, other like X11 servers, Wayland compositors, all of them will read events from my virtual keyboard. And if I don't do that, like I won't be able to open a terminal and type shit. Like the keyboard will effectively be stuck, and I can only unstuck it by physically unplugging my keyboard. Or maybe somehow killing my program with the mouse, you know, because I don't grab mouse. But I don't really have a cross in the top right corner because it's like a tiling window manager. I don't have window decorations. So if I fuck it up here, I will have to physically unplug the keyboard and plug it back again. So the kernel destroys my virtual device and closes all the file descriptors. Yeah. So it's like, you know. On the bright side, doing it this way is very low level, but I don't have to fuck with Wayland compositors, with X11, like whatever. I just can do the shit directly, and it will just work on any Linux that implements virtual input devices. Hey Dumka, what's up, what's up? S Novim Godom, welcome, welcome. Hi, hi, hi. Yeah. But yeah, so this is a bit incorrect because so one of the modes I support is direct mapping, and in this case I will send, so let me just, I guess, show it to you. So I map P to L, right? So when I press P, it's actually not override. This should be map. I don't set it correctly, I think. Am I? Oh no, yeah, it should be map. Yeah, so map. So when I press P, L should be injected back into the keyboard queue. But the way I implemented it now, both P and L will be pressed. So I press one button and two buttons get re-injected. I mean, maybe sometimes you want that, but I guess for the purpose of games, usually you want a full override. Same with here. Oh, it should be a map as well. I press U, but escape should fire instead. So, and why I do this, by the way, because in the game, like when I'm speedrunning a game, I don't want to reach for escape. I just want to press button that's right under my like fingertips. Right? Yeah, here it is. And all of this is assuming that the target program takes events from the global virtual keyboard. Because IRC, you can see which device generated the original event on XKB, and you can choose to filter by device if you want. I mean, I will maybe do that. So far, all games I have encountered, they take devices from X11 server. I mean, they would take inputs from SDL or from GLFW or from Unity, right? And those take them from the X11, right? Or from Wine that is implemented in terms of X11. And those, in turn, they always pick up a virtual keyboard. I mean, because they have to. So far, I haven't found any reason to rely on XKB Common in this case. Also, what I want to do is I sort of want to support multiple keyboards. So, I mean, for now, I just select the keyboard for the user, right? I just do that. But in the future, I maybe want to select a device because, you know, I have, like I have this little bastard I bought a couple days ago because this program, my SOCD Cleaner, it has a bug on Windows where pressing numpad keys gets detected as arrows, as underneath arrows, because I incorrectly read like extended beat on the L param or something. I don't interpret it as you should, so it just doesn't respect whether like numpad is on and off, right? I just think that these are arrows, and it actually only happens on certain keyboards. Like on some keyboards it's fine because I think it's because those keyboards don't rely on extended beat or something, and on some keyboards it's wrong. Yeah, and in order to fix and test the bug, I bought the separate numpad keyboard for like €3. But the point being is that technically it's a separate device, right? Like, and I can see like someone, you know, having a separate like keypad for gaming and a keyboard, and they just want to override it on one device but not the other. I mean, it's probably a rare use case because, you know, I also kind of handle window focus in a smart way, right? So this whole situation only gets triggered when the window gets focused, when the game gets focused, and when the game gets unfocused, my SOCD Cleaner just shuts itself. I mean, it unhooks itself. So maybe I'm like overthinking it a bit, but I can definitely see some power like configurations with this shit. And maybe you just want to have like some global mapping, you know, where you can imagine in the future I also support mouse and controllers, and you want to like control your desktop with your PS5 controller, and you want this shit to be just running in the background, and I can do that as well. I will be able to do that as well. So this thing kind of gives me the, I guess, flexibility in the future, but I always have this kind of on the table that maybe I should just fall back on libinput or even XKB Common, because I actually don't mind to depend on XKB Common because like, I mean, it's relatively simple library. Its code is pretty good. I can actually open it like on like GitLab or GitHub, whatever it's hosted, and read it. And I can even compile it, and I even can even compile it statically if I want. Actually, I think I do. I know those are compiled dynamically as SO. Yeah, but if I want to, I can. Actually, I don't think I link those. I compiled them for debug symbols because I debugged some XKB Common related functionality. But I think as of now, let me LDD XKB Common. Yeah. I link the system one. Yeah, those are just for debug symbols that I needed like once. I don't even link those. But if I want, I can even link those statically. And actually, I think when I ship, I probably will, because I don't really expect anyone to package my program for Linux distributions, and I certainly don't want to bother with like apt and like Fedora packages myself. And so even though Linux people, they hate you with burning passion when you compile stuff statically, I couldn't really give less fucks, because fuck Linux people, right? Here, I'm compiling free type statically. Here, eat that, Linux bastards. Here, stb image write also statically, fuck you. Image resize also statically, fuck you Linux people. Cheers, fuck you too. Hey Marius, hello. Welcome, happy new year. Hey Pimpas. Yeah. DL open it. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will maybe do that instead. Like, you know what you can do? You can have it statically compiled, right? And you can DL open it. Like, you can DL open it. You can like load the symbols into a struct, and then depending on whether you was able to load it or not, you can use statically compiled symbols, or you can use dynamically loaded XKB common. That's just mindfuck 101. I'm not gonna do it, but you certainly can. Anyway, so here I just reinject this to the queue, right? Then I get one symbol, ksim, and I do this y, get name, y, oh, just for logging. Just for logging. Yeah, just for logging. And now this handles setting, new key. Yeah, this handles setting new mapping. This will abort if keyboard hook is not set. And then I have this get key mapping for the code. And this is where I'm gonna inspect my hash table. If mapping, get key name, found mapping, output events, I set the, here I'm setting up the events that I'm actually gonna be sending to the kernel. And here is where I write those back to the kernel and dispatch it to the rest of the operating system. And here is where I find SOCD. So this particular code path will just go away. It will always go through the mapping code path, and then based on the mapping mode, it will either go here or here. Yeah, so let's implement that, and then, actually no, let me first do a small bathroom break and refill like whatever it is I'm drinking. Like today I'm drinking a shitty decaffeinated coffee because I'm out of tea, and today is January 1st, so nothing fucking works. So I have to drink shit ass decaffeinated coffee because I don't have anything else. Yeah, let me put you some New Year vibe. Wait. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. Now we got. Okay, fuck you. Okay. Okay, now that everyone left, we can keep on working. I have something cool here. We made like a ginger cookie, like a ginger cookie house, and here are its remains. It's a fully handmade ginger, what do you call it, like gingerbread house? Yeah, Bill, gingerbread house. Hey Scorp, hello, thank you, Happy New Year. Yeah, we made a gingerbread house. It was very, very cool. And I'm finishing off its remains. Ginger Bill house, yeah. Yeah, last time I watched your stream, you certainly streamed from within some sort of a house. So I am inclined to believe that. I don't have a house. I'm renting an apartment, which is a bit sad, and I can't get a mortgage here because I'm a foreign immigrant. So yeah, fuck me. I'll just have to get rich enough and buy it with cash, right? So I mean, I just need to lock in. Yes, so this will be the oh, get key mapping is actually implemented in main. Yeah, get key mapping. Yeah, look at how simple it is, and it actually does it in linear time. But I bet this linear time is actually faster than the cache map hash table, just because of how small the array is. Also have a hall. Yep. A whole hall and a brewery and a house. I think, guys, something tells me that learning Odin gives you a big money. You should learn Odin, get employed by Django FX, and you will also have a house, a hall, and a brewery. Bill, have you thought of like foundation, kind of like Zeke has? But, or you're not like, or you haven't bothered yet? I'm just curious. That's respectable. You basically don't want like a board and stuff, right? BDFL, I mean, that's honestly fair enough. That's very respectable. That is very respectable. So, we have a code. So we will have destination. Ooh. That's some Tekken 3 OST. The best fighting game ever created. Source scan code. If found, return. I can just do destination, right? Either return. Actually, I deleted dummy, but I read it now, right? So I had a dummy here, which is like just like this. Yeah, just an empty one. Yeah, and I have an operator equals for comparing binds. Because I don't want to return null here or some kind of optional, so I'm just gonna do. It means that Windows will stop compiling, or actually no, because I'm not loading it on Linux. I will just fix Windows separately. Mapping bind. Right, I think that should be it. So I get a mapping. If mapping equals dummy bind, I think it's fair to say that we'll just continue. This is an early return! I'm sorry. By the way, I should finish the or return implementation in Jive. I had so much fun with it. I was like, not shit talking, but I was like, why do you impose this restriction that return values should be named for or return? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And like 2 hours into implementing it in Jive, I realized, because I finally hit it. So sometimes when you don't understand something, you just have to like work towards it, you know? Then, so I have a mapping here. And like, I will switch case on the mode here, but for now, if mapping.mode equals map, I do this. It's not a mapping, it's a bind. I want to be consistent here. I want to be consistent because I have a mapping and a bind and they mean separate thing. And if I start confusing them now, I will have a hard time to clean the stuff up later. If bind mode map, mapping name, it's a get key name, it's gonna be a bind.code. And I will call it a bind name here. I wanted to experiment with multiple cursors. I need to install multiple cursors to my Emacs and like maybe try to use them more. I'm so used to macros and just like search replace that I've never really used multiple cursors properly. But now at work I have to do Visual Studio Code because we're creating a commercial extension for VS Code, so I'm kind of dogfooding it. And macros and kind of search and replace in VS Code are kind of weak because they kind of rely on multiple cursors a lot, and I kind of want to get into a habit of using them more. So I need to install one for Emacs. I know Emacs has a plugin for that because Sodink uses it all the time. I just don't have it. And yeah, I totally agree with Leonte that BDFL is the only good type of open source governance. I think in the end, it definitely comes down to it because I mean, Linux has a committee, right? And this committee did a lot of bad, for sure. Well, committee as in like board of directors or whatever it is. They nerfed Linux a lot. I really wonder if Rust would have gotten into Linux if, you know, Linux was like a proper BDFL. Sometimes I really wonder. Maybe it would have still gotten in, you know. I mean, it's not a committee, it's a board of directors or whatever it is. I mean, yeah, Rust and Linux is like for what, like a couple of years now already. Hey, Prowilnosk, hello. It's not like a committee, it's like a people who give you money. You can basically like buy yourself a seat if your company like donates enough, something like that. Like they don't necessarily have a final say into technical decisions, but I just can't, like in a good faith, claim that they don't have a say at all, you know? I just can't believe they don't. Okay, it's not a mapping, it's a bind.code. Yeah, so this is mapping. And it's a bind name here. If bind equals map. Now here, oh, and actually I need sort of an opposite direction as well here. So if bind equals override, I have everything here. I mean, Rust and Linux in particular is probably a bad example. It's just because it's like a recent controversy that popped up in my mind. So it's like Rust and Linux is sort of it's a difficult kind of, it's a difficult question. I'm actually, so I don't have a horse in the race, right? I'm not like a super zealous like C guy who like, no, Linux is written in C, like that's the way, Rust bad, like Rust toxic, no. I'm not like that, like not at all. And at the same time, I totally understand people who are opposed to encoding all of the restriction into a fucking type system. I totally understand people who are opposed to that. Like, I 100% understand them. Like, I'm a big hater of coding functional restrictions into a type system. Like, every time I open a TypeScript declaration and I need a fucking ultra wide monitor to fit in a type definition, I'm like, yeah, I totally agree. People encoding everything in the type system is just, yes, I totally agree that. And I mean, like, I understand Rust people when they want to do that, right? I totally understand that. Like, an alternative is an example, like a word of mouth, maybe some asserts, you know, here and there. And they just want to document it, right? And the only way they know how to document stuff, and the only way Rust really allows you to do that, is to put it into a type restriction, you know, into like a trait, some kind of a sum type on like which, where, this kind of crap. So they just don't have any other way to do that. Yeah, and I mean, kernel API, it shouldn't be stable. Like, I definitely think that, you know, okay, user space should never break. Like, that's a very good rule to have. But internals API, that they should be able to change, like, for sure. Because otherwise, how would you, like, improve shit? And yeah, Rust just doesn't map to C very well, that's for sure. I remember when Rust just got introduced to Linux, I looked at the code. There was like a lot of panics. And I even remember like Linus ranted about it, that you can't panic inside of a kernel, like it's just not acceptable. And I remember somebody like rewrote Rust panic, so it just like reports shit, but doesn't really crash anything. But I think this schism will continue, to be honest. Like, there should either be some like generational shift where, you know, just like Rust people just take over the kernel and impose their like ultra-wide agenda on the type definitions, or they will not go far enough, because it's like, or I mean, maybe they will find some middle ground, you know, maybe they will encode those restrictions somehow else. But I definitely disagree that they should be encoded in the type system. I mean, and that's really the only opinion I have on the matter. I actually respect a lot, like I have a lot of respect for people who write like drivers for Linux and Rust. You know, Asahi Lina, who writes like GPU driver in Rust for Asahi Linux. I respect her a lot. And I mean, I understand her pain points. I just don't think it happens because, you know, oh, Linux maintainers bad. The way a lot of people like make it sound, you know, like, oh, just some boomers who are unwilling to learn Rust. You know, I don't think it's as easy, it's as simple. A new operating system will definitely be a PUG. I would definitely welcome a new operating system. Linux has a lot of downsides. I will definitely endorse operating system where that doesn't have this everything is a file fucking philosophy. Just no, it's bad. Like it's very bad. So I think this, and it goes all the way down here, right? Yeah, and it needs to be indented. Plan 9. Yeah, Plan 9 where like, if you think in Linux everything is a file, then well, in Linux is like 95% is a file, and in Plan 9 it's like they go to a full 100. I'm not a boomer and I don't like Rust. Same. I'm a millennial, and I don't like Rust. Not just because I just have some generational hatred, but I actually gave Rust like a full year before I started disliking it. Yeah, take that, atheists. Yeah, I mean, drivers, you know, I think that drivers for an operating system is the same issue as libraries for new programming languages, right? So I think that if somebody comes up with an operating system that is unironically great, like alternative to Linux, people will write drivers for it. Because I mean, there are like open source drivers on Linux for various devices that you can port, right? And I mean, naturally, new operating system. I mean, yeah, naturally, the first users of like supposed operating systems will be some kind of enthusiastic programmers, right? Who will willing to port their favorite applications for the new OS, or maybe like straight up rewrite them. I mean, write alternatives. But I am a firm believer that there is still a market for new desktop OS. Like I'm a firm believer in that. Like, cheers to that. And sure, like it might take decades for a proper adoption, you know, to even have like a 1% that Linux currently has. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think you say nobody as in like nobody. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like Linux on the market is for like what, 30 years, and it just barely broke like 2% adoption. And the only reason it broke 2% adoption, well, two reasons. First, Microsoft is like going down hills. It gets so much worse that even like normies like looking for alternatives, right? And the second reason is Wine just getting so good at emulating Windows layers, Windows platform, that just games work well on it. And yeah, it's fair enough to say that Linux basically wants servers. Servers, embed, and blah blah blah. But it's also kind of its weak point. It tries to target everything. That maybe if you just focus on a good desktop experience, you can get yourself a market or something. I don't know. So we get code, posing, code. Yeah. I mean, I am a full-time Linux user for over 10 years. Like full-time. Like not only for work, but for everything else. I use Linux full-time for over 10 years. And I absolutely agree that it's dog shit. The only reason I use it is because I can fix anything on Linux at this point. And it is easier to find like a serious technical details about Linux than about Windows. That is also a big plus, because all Linux users are stinky nerds living in their mom's basements. There's just high density of technical information, like, you know, stuff like ArchWiki or Gentoo-Wiki, compared to Windows. Because if you want to look some Windows help, like God help you, you know, like pray to Allah, I don't know, because all you will find is like, oh, like, have you tried to launch the troubleshooting master, open event log, I don't know, like open the registry, edit this some kind of key. Like, finding a high quality technical help for Windows is near fucking impossible on the internet. I have a life hack that doesn't work for majority of population, because there are actually very good Russian resources for Windows. Like, when I want to actually find some useful information about Windows, I have to Google it in Russian. For some reason, there is high quality info about Windows in Russian. I don't know why. I just wanted to get to debuggers actually. So thanks, Bill. Yeah, debuggers on Linux. Situation with debuggers on Linux is absolutely abysmal dog shit. You have basically what your choices are either LLDB or GDB wrappers. Oh, and Code Club. Actually, I know a guy. Actually, know multiple people who use Code Club. Wait, let me shield for it. I don't use Code Club myself, but since it is like a handmade adjacent project, I want to shield anyway. So here's the Code Club. It is a cross-platform debugger that actually works on Linux. And I saw people using it on streams and it actually working. Hey Blue, thank you, Happy New Year to you as well, and I hope your family also is having a nice 2025 and will have it. Hi, I hope you're doing well. I've watched your recent Balatro streams, they are very fun, by the way. That game seems to be addictive as fuck. Oh wow, thanks for the kind words. I was certainly all over the place this year, but maybe 2025 is the year when I get back to streaming properly, we'll see. So yeah, thank you very much for kind words. But yeah, I saw someone using Code Club on stream. And I guess it's not getting updated often enough, like the latest version is almost a year ago. But it certainly worked when I saw. Also, Ryan said that RAD debugger will get ported to Linux somewhere in 2025. And that would be like massive. That would be fucking massive. So I have Windows installed on this computer. I very rarely boot into it. I actually haven't booted into it in months. And the next time I'm gonna boot in Windows is to fix a bug in this SOCD cleaner to ship it. Because, I mean, I already told about those numpad bug. But otherwise I don't really use Windows. I don't really have a use for it anyway. Actually, I'm lying, I have. Like, I also work on Figma plugin, on a plugin for Figma. And Figma client for Linux, the unofficial one, doesn't support developer mode. So if I have to work on a Figma plugin, which is rarely, but sometimes I have to, I need to load into Windows. That's basically it. I even game on Linux, to be honest. But yeah, what do we have here? So here I have a source, right? I found the destination. So kind of this one is like opposing code equals to bind destination code, right? I get the device state, right? If key is pressed, I test the key of opposing code. Opposing code. That, yeah. Else, if the key is unpressed, I'm again testing opposing code. And then I need to repress the opposing code. Yeah, so here I am unpressing the opposing code, and here I am repressing it, right? I think that's literally all there is to it. Let's recompile. Dummy bind. Loose data assignment are not currently supported at global scope. You can do this inside structs. Wait, what? Oh yeah, it's my bad. Destination is not a member of mapping bind. What is it? Oh, it's just source. I'm find a bind. Yeah, it's just bind that code. Yeah, like that. You know what I want to do? I want to test it in a game. I think we deserved some of it. So let me go on a completely separate desktop and launch a Heroic Game Launcher and hope that it launches, because I haven't launched it in a while. Here I have Hollow Knight installed. You game. Oh yeah, you game on macOS. I totally forgot about it, Pimpas. I low-key want to buy myself MacBook. Well, first I want to fuck with ARM, like maybe do some ARM programming, maybe learn a bit of assembly, and also maybe to port the SoCD cleaner to Mac. Oh, you daily draft Asahi, Ilionta, or you install, or did you install something else? Tell me, please. I'm unironically interested. Asahi Fedora, nice. Hey Ahmed, hello, welcome. Because, so my laptop, I have this Epic Lenovo ThinkPad, like it's T480S. It's over 6 years old, and it is fucking dying, man. Like, it has something with cooler that makes this crackling sound. Let me actually move that to the 5th floor. It makes this crackling sound that is very irritating. I mean, otherwise it works fine, but this sound kind of kills me. Yeah, bye Ginger Bill, thanks for stopping by, and have a nice day. See ya. So yeah, I definitely on a I'm definitely on the market for a new laptop. I thought maybe to buy Framework. Like that. Oops, I just crashed Hollow Knight because I resized it a bit too hard. Why is it so scuffed resolution wise? I forgot how to navigate Hollow Knight. This is the third one is resolution, right? Yeah, okay. Why is it not? Why the fuck is this so scuffed? Like, I don't remember, like last time I launched it, this was totally fine. Let me switch it to English real quick. It's in the first one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll just did that. Command F. Okay, start game. Let's launch the save file. Okay, it works. I think we have a W. So I'm pressing left. While holding left, I'm pressing right and it overrides. And so I can do this crazy ass turnarounds. Right? So in Hollow Knight, if you press your nail, then you turn around really quickly and press your nail again. Like that, but very fast. You can cancel a part of your nail animation. Like nail is a sword in Hollow Knight. You can cancel a part of the animation and like attack quicker. So you can attack like that. But if you do it like that, it's actually like 10% more nail hits or something like that. And I'm doing that by holding right and pressing left real quick. And while I'm pressing left, I'm also kind of pressing nail. You see, sometimes I'm missing that because I haven't played Hollow Knight in 2 years. Properly, right? I mean, like in a year or something. Another thing I did is mapping. So if I press U, so here is my keyboard. And this is a U key. I don't know if you hear it, right? This is a U key. If I press it, escape should happen. And it does. You see, I'm pressing U and escape happens. So the program works. Wait, I even use it on Windows. The official Epic Game Launcher is spyware. I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. I need to derust Copium. Yeah, so true. In Europe, you should be able to get a nice Linux laptop from Tuxedo. I mean, I'm in Serbia, and Serbia is not really Europe. Like, I can't buy shit here without, like, outside, without having to pay an insane import taxes, like 30%. That's like crazy. Does Eurek literally bypasses the Epic Launcher DRM to launch Epic Store games? I don't think so, but I think the reason it works is because Epic Store doesn't have DRM. At least as far as I know, it doesn't force any DRM. It has? I thought most games on Epic Games are like DRM free or something. I mean, maybe some of them are. But maybe it just uses their DRM without their desktop application, like who knows. I mean, if it's just like a launcher, and you can just, you know, sideline it, is it really a DRM, right? NPL also works. There's like a trick in Hollow Knight called Insta-Winks. It's if you like repress the jump button within a single frame. It's not a single frame, it's like 100 milliseconds. So you need to press jump, then unpress it, and press again, all within 100 milliseconds. You get this crazy double jump without a dip. So normally in Hollow Knight you press jump, and then you press jump again, you have this small dip. You see, like you dip a little bit before you get a second jump. But if you do this Insta-Winks, you get it like without, see, like without any dip. It's kind of tight. And so the way I'm doing it now is I'm rolling 2 fingers on a single button. But a lot of people, they just bind another jump on top of the first jump, so they roll a single finger from one button to another one. And if you roll it in the right timing, you also get this Insta-Wink. So now I'm rolling the, I don't know if I can demonstrate it. So I roll my finger from P to L to like here. So I'm doing this kind of movement. Not here, like here, like that. Like that. Fuck. Like that, yeah. Yeah, I guess you got the idea. It's hard to do it in reverse. And so some people roll 2 fingers on the same button. Some people roll a finger from button to button. It's both like legal. And I did it just to test if mappings work. Oops. You can also do like this when you cancel your, like, one of your jumps. Not really cancel, when you delay insta-wings with nail, so your insta-wings is higher. Yeah, like that. So you need to press nail and then roll finger. It's like even harder to do. And I'm like so bad at this because I haven't played the game in a while. Yeah. I should do more Hollow Knight speedruns. But yeah, anyway, the program works. That's great. So it means I implemented the config file. I rewrote the way I store these, and it works. Let me actually add another binding. Or let me, you know what? Let me remove A and D like that. And now A and D should be new. No, it actually didn't work. So they still overwrite. So deleting the binding doesn't entirely work. Like if I delete that, this should like now be neutral, but it's not. Okay, let's fix that. Let's fix that. I think find opposing key and directions, we don't need this anymore. Like, at all. We can just delete it and we should still compile, yeah. Linux won't build, but we will rewrite. Windows version won't build, but we will rewrite it anyway. Okay. So delete happens here. So I'm deleting the binding, and then I want to do this. So this should actually do the job, like table remove. Maybe I don't use it correctly. Table and a key. Mapping source code. Deleting by source. And if override, I also delete mapping by the destination. Let me try to do it this way. Right, so I have that. A overrides D. And then I delete A and D override. Yeah, okay, yeah. It happened because yeah, I see. Okay, now it works. So A and D don't override each other. Like I'm pressing A, I'm pressing D, and the character stops. So it goes neutral. This is default Hollow Knight behavior. but WS, they still override each other. Also PL works, but if I delete it, yeah, P doesn't do anything anymore. Nice. And escape still works. This is nice. So if I add a new binding and I bind A to D, so it's okay, I see. So I need to implement that. So for now I map them. So when I press A, D happens. So wait, does it not work? So it's like, it's not entirely... Yeah, they did, Leon. Some keyboards like have this built in into their firmware. So when I'm pressing A, actually nothing happens because I output both A and D. I also need to fix that. So when I map the key, I only press one of them. Okay, so so this works. This now works. I think I can also remove this. Mapping sources. Yeah, I can remove that. Yeah. Nice, cleaned up some shit. Yep. And I need to implement like override, like setting the how do I call it, the bind mode, like setting this. Right. So I think get wrecked is zones. Yep, joy. I think get wrecked had some sort of drop downs or something. What it should be. Oh, also this like remapping. I haven't implemented remapping, so let's do that real quick. It's easier. So when you press source button, or rather when you release, what I'm doing is that I am current mapping state equals setting source. Yeah, and oh, actually I need to like set an index into the array that I'm currently setting. I can do that, I can just set it globally, right? Yeah, I can do that just globally. And I do it like mapping source code equals key temp. And same here in destination, current mapping state. It's gonna be setting destination, and it's gonna be destination code key temp, something like that. But when I am setting the source, okay, this will be a little bit hairy, but we're gonna manage. I'm still trying to get used to Jai. I was doing some pointer math in C that I'm trying to replicate in Jai. I mean, pointer math is mostly the same in Jai. The only difference is that if you do it on arrays, you would have to manipulate that data, right? You probably want to like subtract the counter or something, so you just gotta do that a little bit. I actually have a okay, I actually like have a, is it here? No, it's in a different, yeah, it's in a different computer, but I have a custom free type parser written in Jai, and it actually does a lot of pointer math because it just directly indexes into a TTF file. Oh yeah, good luck with that. So this is a little bit different because I think write a custom allocator. I mean, that's respectable exercise. I've never written a custom allocator before. I mean, I don't count, you know, stuff that I just allocate a static array and then I'm indexing into that array to kind of sub-allocate. I don't count that as a custom allocator. I mean, I haven't actually written anything, you know, anything like worthy to be proud of, if you know what I mean. Wait, something is messaging me. I need to check if it's my wife. Syscall to get a memory, yeah, that's respectable. Wait, it's my wife. Let me 1 second. I'll answer her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So good. So I do that, and then in here I need to catch that, right? So if like this is a little bit bad and this is a little bit bad too, how did it used to work? Oh, I haven't committed in a while. So it's gonna be a fucking mess. Yeah, I deleted patch your entire file because it got fixed in Jai here. It's always 0. Always 0. That's not correct. Like this is not, so this was never working properly. Let me look at main. Oh god, ooh. Yeah, I rewrote a lot of stuff. Ah, it worked. Because I handled left, right, like up, down separately. So it wasn't just array of mappings. Oh, then in white spaces. Cringe. So here, like, if new mapping is pressed, I insert. Ah, no, it's not. It's here. So pressed source. Did they just not handle those at all? Did they only handle new mappings? Did they used to handle new mappings only? Wait, I think I still have this code commented out here. Pressed source. Yikes, I just never handled it, I guess. Well, I'll just do it like this. I have active profile somewhere here. Active mapping index 0, not 0, -1. Yeah, and it's gonna be like whatever, like S32, like whatever. -1. And so when I add mapping release source, so it's gonna be setting source and mapping index, index. It's gonna be like that. I'm gonna then pack it into a nice struct later. But for now we'll do this. And I think what we have to, so here, if I said setting source here, but what I need to do instead is like, I need to just set a single button. I don't need to set source and then destination, because currently, let me show you. Where's the here? So it's not gonna be this, it's gonna be active mapping index now. Right, it's gonna be active mapping index, and after I'm done here, I'm just gonna reset it back to, I don't know if it's needed, it's just like, I'll just do it. I might remove later. And loss of information type 1 to type given as 64. It should be fine. Like, just whatever, dude. Fuck. What? Can't assign to a large value iterator. Mapping source. Oh. Okay. No. If release. It's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the reference, and it's gonna be like, you know what? I don't care. It's gonna be x64. Yeah, so here I can change that It's listening now, so I'm pressing that. Oh, yeah, it's listening now. Oh, and it worked. It didn't ask me to. Huh, wait. Oh, I crashed it. Attempt index is, yeah, I see now why it crashed. Yeah. Here. So it did that. And then when I tried to set a destination, it indexed into -1 here. So it shouldn't be setting source. It shouldn't be like setting a single bind, you know, something like that. Right, so I have an enum here. Mapping state, nothing, setting source, setting destination, deleting. Do I even use deleting anywhere? Ah, yeah, it's in case confirmation. Yeah. Okay, and it should be like just setting 1, right? Something like that. And in case I just press source or I just press destination, maybe it shouldn't be source destination. Maybe it should be like first and second. Setting just 1. So here we're gonna do this, and it's be setting just 1. And this one is to like setting just 1. Right, and we're gonna switch to Linux side, and if source we do this, if mapping will do this, and yeah, this is not, it's gonna be resetted here. And else if current mapping state equals setting just 1, then we'll do pretty much the same. Right? We're setting just 1 bind. Value is down, type of key, active mapping index, and we will need to reset this at the end. And at the end we just none. Right? Easy clap. Source, it's not gonna be, oh, it's not gonna be source. I also need to know whether it's a source or destination. That's an interesting one. So it's not just 1, it's just source or just destination. So it's setting just source, just destination. So setting just here, so, and I guess then I just check it again, like whatever, dude. Just let me get this done. Such a clean code. I'm so proud of myself. Setting just source. We parsed. I forgot the semicolon. Not a member. Did I setting like that? Setting none. What is it? It's nothing. Yeah. Okay, so now it should work, right? So I want to change P to O. Nice. And I want to change L to K. Epic. I want to change D to... Oh, that's an interesting one. I also need to check on the override here. So I press G, it works. So now A overrides G. But then we have like a back channel where D overrides A instead of G. And this actually needs to be fixed. So this wouldn't work now. Hold on, I still opened. So now I press A, D overrides A, but oh, it still works. Well, what? I fucked it up. I fucked it up because I only set it in the array, but I never set it in the table. So I think I need to switch. So because I have to like, right? I'm setting it in the array by index, and then I need to manually also set it right. I also need to manually set it in the hash table, which kind of sucks. So I think I need to switch to pointers so I will either switch to pointers so that when I change stuff in the array, it automatically changes stuff in the hash table. When table set happens. Or I might like just write a helper function that will keep those two in sync. Like keeping those in sync sounds a bit safer than managing pointers, because I haven't fully figured out what my final data structure will be, how it will look like. So for now, I'm just gonna have them in sync just here in line. I also want to like depress that a little bit. Hey John, hello. Yeah, we're coding a little bit, just a little bit. Привет. Happy New Year. So I need to do table set, right? So mappings. Do I have a mapping here? No, I don't. So it is like that. If setting just source. Margin, yes. I am now a vertical boy. I used to be like horizontal boy. I used to be like 78 for life, but at some point I realized that I just like horizontal is just good. Like, at some point I realized that 80 is just too slow. Like maybe this is a bit too big, maybe that's a bit too big, but maybe not. But I am definitely horizontal now. I just stopped caring about vertical margins. At least in my own code, you know. Yeah. I mean, no, Pep 8, like the official Python style guide, It even has as low as 78 because, you know, you just have to do a couple more columns to allocate to maybe like a terminal like separator. But yeah, even 80 is a bit too little. Right, so we're gonna have a bunch of duplication because here, if I'm setting a source, right, I am going to not only set. So when I set a source, like a different source, like this is a bit hard because, right, there's like a we have like a hash table, right? So I need to get the old source first, right? Old source is gonna be this. Right, we're just setting source. Then we will set the new source in the array. And now we need to sync a hash table here. So first we will set an entirely new key here with an actual destination. Let's actually pull mapping, pull an entire mapping here. Right, like that. All right, so we get the mapping. We remember the old source. Yeah, we set the new source in the array. Then we need to sync a table. So in this table, we set an entirely new key of the new source. Yeah, this is right. Why did I... so this is a copy. So I can't use mapping here because mapping still has an old one. Yeah, so I'll just do that because I don't want to deal with pointers. What is happening? Because I don't want to deal with pointers for now. I just want to get things done real quick, so we'll have it in line. Okay, I'm setting the entirely new source to the... Oh, that's why I want it, because it's like so fucking... Okay, yeah, let's have it. Let's have it. I'm gonna then kind of clean up. I'm gonna set like entirely new source with an old destination, and then I also need to set an old destination. So mapping destination code. I need to set that to the new source, so to this. And then I need to table remove if profile. I need to remove old source. Right, yeah. And here, if I'm just setting the destination, I also need a table set. So I'm setting the destination. And now. It's like a Way to dunk, true. Yeah, it's not only that, I only need to do this if mapping mode equals to override. I need to do this. Yeah. Right, I also need to change the destination, the destination key if it's override. So, and here, yeah, bye bye John, have a good night. Oof, 20 to 1, yikes. Okay, have a good night. Actually also, I think I'm gonna be done soon because it's almost 3 hours. I'm a bit cooked. Not gonna lie, I also haven't slept that much, so yeah. Imagine having to have fun coding. Couldn't be me. Yeah, yeah, what are we doing here? So I set the destination in the array. Then I want to change the hash table, so it's active profile mappings. This is a typo I just saw. Mappings. I want to find the source. Right, so we do this. So get mapping source code. And we set mapping that destination, new destination. Right, so we set the destination, then we need to find a hash key. I hate run everything again for like at least 5 days. Oof. Oof, forgot to put a square root. Oh, and you're doing those crazy data sets. That's really unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. Like this is absolutely a situation in which I would like write some kind of unit test that I launch before the big launch, just to make sure I don't waste, you know, like 5 days. But I can imagine like maybe it's some like subtle stuff in the formula that you can't really catch with the unit test. But yeah, and you just looking at the results, and they look absolutely ridiculous. Right. Okay, so yeah, we set the right, so I set a new destination at the mapping source. And I also need, so if mapping mode equals override, I also need to set file mappings. I also need to set mapping destination code to new mapping source, like a mapping source code. I also need to do that. So I need to set the destination, and then I need to do that as well. And then if it's override, I also need to table remove here of this, and I need to do old source. right? So mapping should be here. F code. This the destination, and here I need to remove the old source, so mapping source. Let me just do this. Source. Then I can do this, then I can put mapping here. Because I need to do like new destination. Then I do this to the old source. Oh no, it's totally fine. I can just do this, yeah. So I only changed the destination, right? So I changed the destination. I don't need the old source because I don't actually change the source. So I set the destination to the source here, and then I remove the this. Yeah. So yeah, that should be it. Yeah, I'm sorry, people. I'm like, it took me way too much time to write this crap. It's because I get tired. Mapping bind, giving you 32. Oh, it's that. And also I fucked it up somewhere here, yeah. One more time? Where? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, right. So if I so here, for example, I have this working SOCD in, and now I remove, like, I, for example, change A to G. Now G overrides D. A doesn't override D anymore. So I press D. Okay. So if I'm pressing A and I press D, nothing happens. D does not override A anymore. But A still overrides it. So if I'm pressing D and override A, it's still overriding. But G stops D. So okay, this kind of works. And this doesn't get deleted. So I messed it up. And if I just delete it, I think A, yeah, A is still here. Yeah, so I subtly fucked it up here. Like this. If it's override, table remove should be here. No, it actually should always be here. Yeah. Old source. Old source will be A. Yeah, and this actually worked. So the one with, hey Python, what's up? So the one with the D hasn't been deleted. It probably has been set. Yeah, new source. But I also needed to delete. Yeah, so I also need another table remove here with the destination, like this one, and the old source. Actually, no, this should have overwritten it. This should have totally overridden it. Oh, does it maybe... Hello. Oh, does it maybe set multiple? Because I know this one supports like multiple by keys. Wait a second. Table find. No, it's totally fine. Because yeah, here's like table find multiple. Yeah, I think that's totally fine. So we remove let me just for key value profile mappings. I just print key value key value. So I do this, replace it with G. Oh, it's kind of hard to hard to say. So let me delete this. Let me delete everything, and I will. Oh, okay, that's an interesting one. So I added. Oh yeah. This is actually an easy one. So when I'm adding a mapping, I need to set an active here, active mapping index equals to 0. Yeah, this is an easy one. So let me just remove everything but this. And then I just change this to G. So I have 3 instead of just 2. And setting just one bind for some reason printed twice. Oh shit, I accidentally closed Emacs. My bad. I think it's because it doesn't trigger once, it doesn't trigger twice. Let's delete everything here. I'm just doing this. Okay, setting just one bind. Source is 34, which is G. And so we have a 32, which is D, to 34. Then we still have this one, so D to A. We haven't removed D to A. So you see what happens? We have G to D. We have D to G. But for some reason we failed to remove A to D. And I'm trying to remove it here. Old source. Aha. Old source. Here. This should be removed. Let's also print before, like before, and it's also it's first value and then key, value and then key, yeah. And then after. So let's delete all of that. And let's replace this with G. So before we had D to A, right? And A to D. We remove D to A. Actually, we replaced D to A with D to G. We added G to D, but we did not remove A to D. So here, what we're doing is we listen to active mapping index, we get the mapping. We get the old source, which should be A. This actually should be A. And this actually should just straight up remove it, right? So I think I got trolled because this is like some kind of an address. Yeah, because because this is a temp key. I replaced temp key. I'm an idiot. Ooh. So I need to store the old kind of state of this before I override it, because this is not the valid source. This is like so this doesn't do anything. This doesn't do anything. Okay, so here the way I find all source is not like this. Destination, right? So before before I do this, I know what happens. So because I set an intermediate key, I can't just find the old source from this. So instead, I need to get it from the destination. And so what I'm doing this is, I do this, but before I do this, I need to old kind of source equals old source like found equals stable find, right? And it's gonna be active profile that mappings and like this. If not, I mean, if not found is like whatever, right? Yeah, if not found, it's literally whatever. But now we should at least have a new normal, like good old source, and all we need to do is just to do the code here. What? How is it not defined? It's literally here. Ah, like that. Delete this, change this to G, and now old source is 30. Yeah, okay, and now it works. Now it works properly here. Okay, A and D, D to A don't work anymore. Now it's G. G and D, yeah. Yeah, G stops D properly. Okay, now it works. Does it work for destination? Let me put the source back. Okay, now it works here. And does it work for the destination? So for some reason, for example, if I add a mapping and I add like P, oh, I think this index doesn't, yeah, I think this index does not get me anything good. I need to stop using it. 76. This index was an awful idea, clearly. This index was a bad idea. I will refactor it later, but now for the sake of the argument, I want to okay, active mapping index equals it index. But it works. Wait, how does it? It's in setting source on a new mapping. Here. Oh, no, here. Oh, it literally... yeah. Yep. Common rookie mistake. Oh. Yep. So let's add, like, for example, P to K, right? And now if I press P, nothing, yeah, if I press P, I press a nail, because K is also a nail. But if I change P map to L, will it work? Okay, it works. Epic. So it works. It works! My mapping works. And so next time I'm gonna implement this toggle. Whew. Yeah, I'm like, it took way more time. It took way more time than it needed. Like, I am definitely cooked. Like, this is all very bad. And I just realized this is too much synchronization I need to do between an array and a hash table. I need to find a simpler way, a simpler, cleaner way to keep this stuff in sync. And I'm gonna, like, to remind you, the only reason I went with array at all is because apparently hash table is not like, is not insertion consistent, right? It's not a big difference in terms of functionality, but I generally want to keep this order in a way that user defined it. Because, I mean, user might want to rearrange bindings because it's just more convenient to them, you know. And when you insert something in a hash table directly, it can get like injected after the first, after the second, you know, depending on the hash function, I guess, and a mask. So, and the iterator doesn't show them in the same order every time. So I went with an additional array. And I guess now I need to have a lot of synchronization. And also the fact that override, under the hood, override has 2 bindings, not just 1. It also adds an additional complication here. Yeah, that's what I was thinking previously, that, like, that's exactly like, at the very you haven't been here at the start of the stream, right? You joined a bit later, but yeah, I was thinking to put an index into array like somewhere here on the bind, like, or something, right? And then sort by this thing. So yeah, I totally thought of that. And then when I add a new binding, I would always put it at 0. I thought of that, but I wanted to try an array first, because it's kind of like, oh, it's easier to just iterate over an array, right, and inject into array, and I don't have to sort anything, right? So I just tried that first, and I also can easily kind of, so when I set a new binding, I always have like a index, and I just tried that, but this little experiment proven that it's just too much cognitive load and I'm not handling well, so I'm gonna probably think about it for a couple hours, and maybe I will do another session later today, or maybe I'll come back tomorrow. But I think this will be it for me today. Feel free to follow my socials. Yes, I also talked about that I can just pointers to use, like, not only pointers to the hash, but I can actually have a values in the hash table as a pointers to an array, and changing stuff in the array will also change pointers in the hash table. Like, it will work for maps, but it won't work for overrides. But I can just do it sort of like that. We'll see. But yeah, here's my shill links: Discord, YouTube, Twitter. Discord is for stream notifications. That's the only place I post them. Maybe we can rate someone, actually. Let me see who's streaming. Mr. Zodink is streaming, but I mean, he usually doesn't need raiders. He has a lot of viewers already, but we can rate him. Who else? There's a guy who does like hardcore Linux driver stuff. Also, there's some sexual themes. Let me do this. Let me do it this way. Right? See helper library. Oh, it's someone who posted on Handmade Network today. Okay, you know what? If you want to watch Sodding, you can go watch Sodding. I will rate this person who is doing like C helper library, who is like posted on Handmade Discord today. Oh, raid. This channel has followers or subscribers on the chat. I mean, whatever. I'll still rate them, you know. Feel free to follow if you want. Don't follow if you don't want. Yeah, follow my shield links, and I will either see you later today, or I will stream tomorrow and off to see if I can build OBS multi-RTMP on Linux Arch. Okay, yeah. Have a good luck with that, Leonte. And yeah, bye people. Have a happy new year and all that stuff. Be nice to the streamer, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.